We were seeing the demo, but we did not complete the demo. So what is that? We'll just go ahead and create that demo. So first of all, we have to go to EC2 and you have to create one instance here. You do not have any instance, so first step is creating an instance. So we now know how to create the instance. So you have to just select Amazon AMI, and here you can select whatever instance type you want. So I'm just going ahead with the free tier, that is T2 micro, and then we'll just keep this everything as default. We just need to see how we can install that Cloudwatch agent. So let's go ahead and keep everything as default. Configure security group, and you can use the existing one. So I'm just using this existing one. So it is giving us the warning that port 22 is not open. So maybe we'll have to either open a port here, or else you will have to select another one. So let's create one for today. That is fine. You can give any name. So you can give SG, and it's 27. So you can give description, testing, Cloudwatch, port 22 is open. Review and launch. What is the key pair you want? You can use older key pair which is available with you, and then launch instances. Okay, so it says your instance is now launching. View instances. So it is now in running state. So let's check what are the current monitoring metrics available here. So just go to monitoring. And then it is taking a bit longer, so the instance state is still in pending, so it may take some time to get the basic monitoring or metrics. So it is just fetching all those metrics. Okay, so it is still loading. Okay, so that is fine. Like we had seen how we can create the dashboard and all those things, right? So let me just refresh it one more time. Okay, so this time we need to attach a role, because role is required to push the metrics to the Cloudwatch. So how to create a role? You have to go to IAM service, which is Identity and Access Management Service, manage accesses to the AWS resources. So this we have seen this in the last lecture also. Like, so we are just creating one role, and I hope I think we had not deleted that role. So creating role is pretty straightforward. You have to just EC2 to Cloudwatch. Yesterday we had created this role. Now what is this role? So this role contains a policy, and what is this policy? So this policy gives some information, like what are the, so this is like a granular level, access level that we are maintaining, like what things we need to allow and what things we need to deny. So roles contain this policy, and by using that particular role you can have that your EC2 instance will then have those permissions. Whichever permission you will give, that particular instance will have. Okay, so we'll have to attach this role. So just go to actions, security, and modify IAM role. And which IAM role we want? We want EC2 to Cloudwatch. So this is the role we had created. So just save it. Okay. Let's just give it some name. Maybe testing Cloudwatch. Alright. Let's just save it. Let's try to connect this particular instance. So as this is a Amazon Linux instance, we can directly use this particular EC2 instance connect, and we can directly able to connect using this EC2 user on the browser itself. Okay. Now this time we want to first of all configure any service. For this particular example, we are going to set up one HTTPD server, and to set up HTTPD server is a simple process. So first step is installing HTTPD package. Second step is starting the service. Third step is let's enable the service as well, so that when we boot that service, it should be up and running. When we boot the service should be started automatically. And let's just create index.html file in var html directory. So what will happen now, whenever this Apache HTTP server will run, it will refer to this directory var html, and there it will find index.html file, and using that index.html file your web page will be available. So let's just quickly create one sample web page. So I'm just following the step yum install -y httpd. So it says you need to be root to perform this command. So let's just move back to the root and let's say yum install -y httpd. So it will install the HTTPD package for us. Once the package is installed, you have to just say systemctl start HTTPD. So this will start the service, and similarly you have to run the enable command. So this particular command will replace start with the enable in the above command. So systemctl enable command is run here, and we have successfully enabled this particular HTTP service. The next step is pretty straightforward. You have to go to var html, and here you have to create one file. So let's just see if I call localhost what it gives me. Okay, if I call localhost now, so it says, so when I call normally, if I don't create any file, so it is just giving me some random data, and that particular data says test page for Apache HTTP server. So this page has been a test page whenever you will open. So let's go ahead and check what is there in this particular instance. So you need to open the 80 port, right? Because we are running HTTP server, and HTTP requires the 80 port. So you will have to go to this security group and just edit inbound rule and just add a rule for your 80 port. So we are just adding a new rule for 80 port because my application is running on that particular page, right? So I have opened that particular page. Now let's go to instances. Let's go to this particular IP address and let's try it, and let's see what it shows. Okay, so it shows some test page, right? But now I need to configure this test page, right? So what you have to do, you have to just create one file here, index.html, and let's just write some demo code, and you can say this is my test web page. Just closing this particular page heading, and let's save this particular thing. Let's say systemctl restart httpd. Let's try to see. This is my test web page, right? So we have successfully configured the web page. Now the next step is pretty straightforward. So why we are doing all this? Because we know HTTP will create some log, this application will create some log, and we want to see those log inside our Cloudwatch. So that's why we are doing all those things. Like we have installed some sample application, and now we want to see those logs inside my Cloudwatch, right? So once web page is configured, so let's go and check the logs of that particular service. So if we go to where log httpd, so you will notice that two logs are being created here. If I cat access log, so it will show you some access has been, like some browser Mozilla on Macintosh has opened that particular application. So those are the access logs. And what is the error log? So it shows like everything around that application, like whatever has happened until now, like how those all things are working in the backend, right? Now what we want to see these logs inside our Cloudwatch portal. So what we want, because every time we will have like hundreds of servers, so it is not feasible to go on each server and check those logs. So we want a common place where we can check those logs. So for that, so we know what is the basic step we require here is to install the agent, right? So we need to install one agent here. So how to install the agent? So it is pretty straightforward. You have this command. Actually, you can open this particular docs, and these are the official docs provided by AWS itself, and it tells us how we can install it. Now since if we are using the Amazon Linux itself, so you can directly run this command, but I am just going with the general way, because it might be the case that in some scenario we are not using Amazon Linux, we might be using some other Linux. So how to check that? So you have these download links. You can take any links you want as per your platform, as per your architecture. Okay, and the first command is nothing but getting that wget is nothing but getting that particular RPM package inside. So this is like Amazon Linux is kind of Fedora based system, so it uses yum, RPM, those kind of package managers. So just copying this particular link, so this you can find in this official documentation, you can take it from here, and just put that link in your, okay, let me retry it. If it doesn't copy, then we might need to open a portal. So let's try to connect using SSH, because I am not able to copy and that command needs to be copied. So let's just open the terminal here. Alright, now I need to have that key. Yes, I do have that key. Let's fire that particular command to connect to that particular instance. Okay, do you want to connect? Yes, I want to connect. Yes, I am inside that particular server, and you can do the curl localhost one more time to make sure that you are in the correct page or not. So yeah, it is showing that this is my current web server, right? So let's just go ahead and let's just install that particular agent here. So you will have to just copy this command. So I'm just downloading, let me just copy, and let's just paste that particular thing here. Okay, so you will notice it has downloaded something. Okay, it has downloaded this particular RPM in my web package, right? So now next step is pretty straightforward. So what you have to do is you have to install that particular package using your RPM command, right? So that command is also there. So sudo rpm-u, and you have to give that particular rpm name. So let me just give that sudo rpm. So because it requires installing a new package requires the sudo permissions rpm-u, and I'm giving the package name because this I have downloaded. So it says create group CW agent and create user. So it has created some groups of user, and yeah, this is how like it have successfully installed the agent. Now agent is installed. So next step is creating a config. Now first of all, we have uh, uh, created one agent, but we require some configuration file that agent will consume, and it will behave accordingly, right? So how to run? So to run the wizard, they have created a directly a binary, and that binary is present in OPT AWS Amazon Cloudwatch -agent binary, and then Amazon agent config wizard. Okay, so this particular wizard is nothing but it helps us to create one configuration file, and that configuration file will be then consumed by your agent to send the logs. Okay, so just become the root here. Alright, and just retry to fire this command. So I'm just trying to run this command to start my wizard, which will help us to. So yeah, what it says is, so as soon as I started this agent configuration wizard, it says welcome to the AWS CloudWatch agent configuration manager. On which OS are you planning to use this agent? So this particular program is useful to create a file for Windows as well as Darwin as well as Linux. So this same program, even if you are on the Linux machine, you can create the configuration file for Windows also. So later on you can reuse that file for your Windows instances. So currently I am going with the Linux. Then it says trying to fetch the default region based on your EC2 database. Are you using EC2 or on-premises host? So of course I am using EC2, right? I want I'm installing this agent on EC2 instance. So I'm just going ahead again with the default, and then which user are you planning to run this agent, right? So there are two users like root user, this CW agent and others, right? So I'll just go ahead with the root user only. Do you want to turn the statsd daemon? So this statsd is another again a daemon which collects the statistics of your VM. So yes, I want it because I need some more detailed logs, more detailed metrics, I would say. Then it says which port do you want statsd daemon to listen to? So again, it doesn't matter which port you give, but I'm going ahead with the default one. So after that it says what is the collect interval for statsd. So this is like a so whenever you are selecting the time interval, collect time interval. So if you select the less time, then it is more costly. So for now, let's just go ahead with the 60 seconds. Okay. What is the aggregation interval? Okay. So aggregation interval for metrics collected by statsd. Okay. So for that again I am selecting 60 seconds. Okay. Now do you want to monitor the metrics from collectd? So it is another daemon, like just like statsd, collectd is another daemon, right? So do you want to metrics from that also? Yes, I want from that also. Do you want to monitor any host metrics like CPU memory? Yes, of course I want that. Then do you want to monitor CPU metrics per core? So it says additional Cloudwatch charges may apply. Okay, but it is fine. We are just doing for a demo purposes. Then there is lots of things like do you want to add EC2 dimension, like you want to monitor image ID, instance ID, instance type. So all those things do you want in metrics you want. So I'm just going ahead with default, and I want that that metrics. Would you like to collect your metrics at high resolution, sub-minute resolution? This embed sub-minute resolution for all metrics, but you can customize for specific metrics. So that means again it is like relevant to your time duration that you want to collect your metrics. Then which default metric configuration do you want? So there are lots of configuration, but we are just moving it with the basic, like standard and advanced are defined in the documentation, but currently we are just going with the basic default metric configuration file. So you will see it have, as per your your inputs, it has created one configuration file, and configuration file looks something like this. So it says agent, matrix collection duration is 60, run as user is a root. Then which metrics you are targeting, you want auto scaling, group name, image ID, instance type, instance. So these are append directions. Then collect D, you have opted for collect D also. So that is also metrics collected from collect D, metrics collected from disk, metrics collected from memory. So whatever you have selected, all those things they have created as a JSON file. Now it says, are you satisfied with the above configuration file? So yes, I am satisfied. And then it says, do you have any existing CloudWatch log agent configuration file to import for migration? So this is first time I am creating, so I don't have any CloudWatch existing CloudWatch log agent file configuration file. So I'm just going ahead with no. Do you want to monitor any log files? Yes, of course I want to log file. And what is that path? So we have seen the path for this particular instance. Path for the log files is nothing but, if I go to cd var log httpd, here is my cd var log httpd, and here is my two files that I want to read, right? So let's just try to add that file. So it is var. So this log file will be also then available inside CloudWatch httpd, and what is that is access logs. Okay, so that is the path for my first log file. Just say enter. So default, so it says log group name, so that group will be created on the CloudWatch. So all we'll see in the CloudWatch portal. Log stream name, default name, so it will it is asking you to configure if you want any name. So I just want this log file to be named as my instance ID. After that it will have that access log. Then do you want to specify any additional log files to monitor? Yes, I want to specify. And what is that second file? Var log httpd, and the second file is nothing but your error log, right? This error log you want to, so I want to monitor both of these files. So this is one time job. You have to just create it once and you can reuse this particular file. All right. So yeah, error log, default choice, log string. Then it says, do you want to specify any additional log files to monitor? Okay, so and that is fine. I just want to monitor two files. Then it have created one file. Now you will see something like log files. So it says logs collected files, collect list, and now it is monitoring these two files also that we have just added. Okay. So do you want to store the config in the SSM parameter store? So what is this particular SSM parameter store?